Welcome, guys, to another podcast episode. I got a very special guest coming on to the I Am Undeniable podcast. We got, no, I wouldn't say just a client. I would definitely consider her a friend. Her name's Kristina, and she has had one hell of a fucking journey, as I like to call it. We coached with each other, started coaching with each other a few years ago. And over the years, she has lost 60 pounds of body fat, has quit her corporate American job, and is now chasing her own personal dreams of being a future, like I like to call it, Netflix special comedian. Because I'm putting it up. I definitely think it's going to happen one day. What's up? How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. I'm good. I got my arms in today and I'm just feeling like extra beefy. So
I like it. I like
yeah,
it.
I know. I'm
Well,
like just noticing how white I am.
well, it's a hard comparison because I am super tanned, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm most of the time the darkest person in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just start comparison right now.
that's fair. Well, why don't we start with this? Can you just introduce yourself to the room? Tell people like a little bit about yourself.
Mhm.
Uh, where do you live? All that kind of good stuff.
Yeah. My name is Kristina. Everyone knows me as K Banks. I've lived in Vegas for 8 years now, and it wasn't until I moved out here that I kind of realized I was just kind of always running away from
Mm,
certain things and just kind of not really fully addressing everything and just how much I truly avoided stuff. So when I hit my rock bottom out here, I knew that I also wanted to conquer Vegas, and part of
mm,
that was first getting like a trainer to like take down the weight and everything. COVID obviously wasn't nice to anybody, so
mhm,
like I never heard of anyone flourishing in COVID, right? So
mm,
yeah, and then so like naturally, just like everyone else, like kind of let go of some habits and everything. Just wasn't really sure of what anything looked like. So then I started off with a trainer, lost like 30 pounds, but of course he had me like only eating 6 egg whites and like a pound of spinach and then just like raw meat at night. You know what I mean? So I like never heard from him until it was just like time for like payday. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I don't, why do I care about him? Right. Um, so then I knew I needed to get my head straight too. So I like went to therapy for a couple years, like did some solid ass kicking, if I will. And then
mhm,
that's when I knew that, okay, I was getting leads to explore stand-up comedy, but I knew just eating out, staying out late, drinking, eating bar food is my most favorite fucking thing in this world. And I just knew that comedy would kill me. So I was just like, okay, well, if I'm serious about this and if I'm like actually going to do this, then I need to get everything in order. So like Alex has been really a life coach plus nutrition plus accountability plus making sure I go to the gym and do all the above. And that's exactly what I got, even on the days that I don't feel like having that sometimes.
Well, I
So,
just actually learned quite a lot from you that I didn't know. I didn't know you worked with a trainer before me. I did not know that.
mhm.
Which is quite cool. So why don't you tell us a little bit like about that? Like, let's talk about where were you before coaching with me? Let's talk about your experience working with another trainer. Obviously, you dropped 30 pounds, but you weren't,
Mhm.
happy with the direction that was going. So give us like the
Yeah.
layout. Where was K Banks at before she found Alex?
I mean, he was the quintessential Vegas flashy
Mm,
trainer working out in his multi-million dollar background, like backyard that's like totally perfectly landscaped, you know what I mean? And then just of course it's just like this big old crash diet where it's just like, 6 egg whites, pound of spinach, like, you know, a gallon of water, just like super lean meat at night, like no room for a substitute, no this, no that, like, and then I just wouldn't hear from him for like weeks on end. And then he would just like kind of like pop up out of nowhere and like he would send me like a literal like text list of workouts and just kind of like, okay, go get them, you know what I mean? And then I wouldn't hear from him for like about a week or two. And so I had questions. I had like, like this fucking sucks. I don't want to do this. Like I did this to change my lifestyle and break some habits, not to do something unrealistic just to fall
mhm,
back on it, right?
mhm.
So I had dropped, I think like 30 pounds, and then I rebound about like 10, 15. And that's when I was like, that's not the fucking point. Why did I just spend all this money? Like,
Mhm.
that's not the point. But I also knew that like you got to fix your mind, your body, your spirit. Everything was going on at once.
Mhm.
So it's very poetic when I first found you, because I remember that's when I first was like, doom scrolling a lot on TikTok a lot. And then you just kept like populating for me, because that's when I was like literally just like everything trainers of like, well, maybe I can teach myself. Like if it's all just like counting calories on my fitness pal, then I'm already kind of doing that, but I just don't have the discipline. And then I saw you, and then your clients actually had results. And they actually like were happy. And they actually knew your name. Like it was just like
Mhm.
big stuff for me. So I was just like, okay, he seems really cool. Like you're very down to earth and everything. And then I just knew that there was like no true right time. I just knew I needed to like work up to afford you, because that's right when I was changing my jobs that I hated.
Mhm.
And so
Mhm.
I was like, I'm just gonna price him out. I'm gonna let him price me out, right? And so I deliberately remember like reaching out and just be like,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell him no. It could be $5 a month, and I'm gonna be like, no. And then so when you're just like, yeah, no, that's totally cool, like complete indifference, that's when I was like, okay, I like this guy. Like,
Mhm.
and then you kept validating that with just like, I want to meet you where you are financially, emotionally, like everywhere, right? And then that's when I was like, okay, cool. Like that's when I started seeing the differences of like, oh, we get to chat all the time. Like I get more trainers, I get this, I get that. I get exactly what I was missing out of that first trainer. Um, and then and then I was supposed to graduate, and I was like, but what if I don't? Like,
Well, yeah, that's like, well, I think one of the biggest things I think a lot of people are surprised when they coach with me. It's like, yeah, I do talk to you regularly. I talk to people regularly.
like I tell people, I'm like, you follow me on Instagram, and like, there's times where I'm like, Dad's watching, like, I can't fuck
Oh
off that
yeah, I
much.
watch people's stories. I like stuff,
You do
like
your homework.
I'll be like, hey, that's pretty cool. Or I've had some people like, I'm watching you. I remember what I saw, last week, right?
Yeah,
Uh, so yeah,
yeah,
you
you're
do.
a real human. It's scary.
I'm a real person, right?
Yeah.
Very communicative, and I think that's like something I think a lot of people miss when it comes down to training. It's like you got to meet somebody where they're at. Uh, putting someone on an extreme diet like your old trainer before doesn't work for the majority of people. That definitely didn't work for me. It didn't work for you, right? So I guess what was the difference? Obviously, you found me on TikTok. You reached out to me, you saw my client success story. So at the very beginning, when you hopped onto the program, we did things quite different than what you were used to before.
Oh
So,
yeah. Yeah, yeah,
so
yeah.
what?
No, it's been an adventure.
Uh,
Because I remember, I think her name was also Christina, but
mhm.
she was like around my same age bracket. I think she was like, I within a year or two, had like two kids, family, full-time job, and then she dropped like 60 pounds, had a six pack, and only went to the gym like 3 days a week. And I was like,
Yeah,
I'm
twice a week.
sorry.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was Nicole, and I was like, I'm sorry, the fuck? I don't have any of that. And I'm working out 6 days a week, and I just crushed out 2,000 miles on my bike that year. And I was like, what? Like, trust me when I say I'm very like spite driven. So like when I saw that, it just kind of pissed me off in the perfect way, where I was just like, if it's that easy, what the fuck am I
Well,
doing so wrong?
yeah, and that's one of the things we were talking about. I told you, like, you're working out too much, you're doing too much cardio, you're eating too little food, and we only hang you to the gym 4 days a week, hour
Mhm.
max, and
Yeah,
eating more food. And I
yeah.
remember you messaging me being like, "How is this possible? I'm eating more food, working out, not even as hard as I was before, and getting better results."
I would just remember, I think it was like the first 5 months, I literally was just like, what fucking time frame reality shift did
Mm,
I just go through? Like it felt like a portal where I
mhm,
was just like, oh, and like I remember I was so estrained to eating like three
mhm.
meals a day that you had to literally like eat this for the
Yeah,
same meal
yeah.
every day for like the first 3 months and just get past it, right? And then I was like, what? And you're just like, I'm literally training you how to have an appetite, stupid. And I was like, oh, you know what I mean? And so it was just like, that was the weird part. Cause like, I never thought of myself as like someone who didn't eat until, until my my trainer was just like, yo, you're not feeling your body like at all. I don't
Mhm.
understand how this is happening. And I think the biggest reality call for me is when you told me that I had enough calories per day to fuel a toddler. And I
Mhm.
was like, oh, that's bad.
Mhm.
And then so I just remember like, I think it was, yeah, the first 3 months where I was eating the exact same meal every single day. I would switch it up like once per month, you know what I mean? And then finally, when I got to recognize, like, oh, food is not the issue, your mentality around food
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
Because I don't know, I'm a millennial. I grew up with fucking Paris Hilton. Like, everyone was starving. Like, it was, you
Mhm.
just, you know what I mean? Like, that was your calorie deficit, is like, you just don't eat. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. Like, intermittent fasting, so easy, right?
So for you, where was that like switch, right? Because I think a lot of people can relate to that. Is like, they look at food as the enemy, and that's something
Mhm.
that I struggled with before, and like at the very beginning of when we coached together. So what helped you transition yourself into looking like, oh, you know what, eating more food is actually getting me better results.
Yeah, it wasn't until I started getting results that I was like, "Wait, what the fuck?" It's because I'm doing that. Like, it didn't like when you like floss every day and then you just don't have any more plaque, right?
Mhm.
Like, and then you eat more and more and more, and then you just keep losing weight, and it's just like, this is a joke, right?
Mhm.
Like, I just remember just that's how baffling it was to my
Mhm.
brain. And then so now to be on the other side of it, of just like, yeah, if you're trying to go on a road trip, you would obviously put gas in the whole tank. Like, what are you not? Same shit, different day. So it took me a minute to like actually recognize, like, oh, your body needs fuel. Otherwise, it triggers storage and then it goes, "Oh, I don't know what I'm eating again." So,
Mhm.
mhm,
So I think that's quite cool, right? You've gone through like such a journey. And what I think stands out with you, with me the most with you, Christina, is like you really recognize how big of a mindset mental journey it was, right? So when throughout the process, why was that such a significance importance to you, working on your mindset and your internal self? And like why did you feel like you had to make those shifts in order for you to be successful?
because I just remember taking off the 30 pounds and just being like, that was a huge accomplishment and I feel nothing. But
Mm,
also it's because I wasn't hearing from anybody. So like, what the fuck? Okay, cool, your pants fit better, but like, I wasn't even celebrating myself,
mm,
right? I just
mhm,
didn't have any type of community. And then so like, yeah, I would have like people on like Facebook or whatever, just like, oh, cool, you look great, like, heart, whatever. But then you're
mhm,
just like, what? Like, what? So like between fixing perspectives and then also fixing um just like my viewpoint on life in general, and just like, oh, goals do work, oh, manifesting really does do shit, like, it
mhm,
still just baffles me because it was like, what, the Red Sox, no, the Mets or the Red Sox, this one guy literally goes on a week before. I'm a very big athlete. I just come from like athletic world. I've played every sports in the book. Like, I was the girl. You know what I mean? So like that's
mhm,
why like the gym and everything was never the issue. It was more of just like, what I mean? Like, don't eat dairy because it slows down your reactions. Like, don't eat too much carbs. Like, you'll slow down. And just all that. The 2000s were stupid.
mhm.
But then like I just remember this one outfielder playing like a big game for the World Series, and then he loses the game by like missing a ground field ball, and then a week before he's in the newspaper going, yeah, the biggest nightmare, or he's like, the dream is always to like win the big game, but the biggest nightmare is to miss the like game winning ball as a like grounder. And that's
Mm,
exactly what he did. And that's when you just have to be like extremely careful as to like, oh, I do have an influence of my life, like my viewpoint, my words, what I'm looking for. Like, if I'm literally just gonna be like, oh fuck, I'm late, there's gonna be traffic. Of course I'm gonna look for traffic, right? If I think everyone drives a white car, everyone drives a white car because I'm training myself to look for that, right? So I
mhm,
knew I had to train myself of like, because I just remember first starting off of just like, well, if everything's going wrong and I hate everything, then just like it just can't get worse, right? Like, if I just shut up and listen, it just like I can't add weight when I'm paying Alex, right? Like now I am because I'm in a muscle building phase, you know what I mean? But it's been fun to just think about like, why not me? Like, why am I not allowed this happiness? Why am I not allowed that body? Why am I not allowed to like crush these goals? Like, why not?
Yeah,
So
and you're right. Like, why not you? And it's
yeah,
just like everyone that's going to be listening to this, why not you? Why can't you be the one that wins? Right?
why not?
It's like communication and the way you view the world is so important. And it's really important to be around like-minded people that can help elevate you towards this. And like
Mhm.
to me, like Christina's like the most popular person in the Facebook group, our community right now. People fly to Vegas just to hang out with her, right?
I mean,
Superstar over here, right? But you got to be surrounded by the right people that think the same way as you, that can elevate you to become your literal best self. So, throughout the process of getting the results and where you're at right now, what was like the biggest struggle that you've had, and what did you do to overcome it?
the biggest struggle, I would just say just that one hard day. It's just that one where it's just like, okay, cool. Like the first couple months don't exist. You're just trying to like put on a new perspective. You're just trying to put on like a new routine. Obviously, you're supposed to like
Mm,
fail. And like I had to really let go of like my perfectionism because like I'm not gonna do it unless it's perfect, right? But
mhm.
then I also have to remember, like, yo, bitch, like you're playing with varsity. Like you're cool to miss a ball here and there. You know what I mean? Like it's you're already you're already doing fine, you know what I mean? Um, so it was just like it's just those days where you're just like, I can't lift shit. I'm too sore. I can't do anything. Like, I have no time. I have all the, and then like you just, for those days, it was really impactful because I saw this one episode of Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, and it was
Mm.
the same type of girl and like whatever, and they literally had her write out every single negative thing that she's always told herself. And when she saw it physically around her, she was like, oh. And when you put it physically out, that's when you actually see the weight of what's happening. And that's when I was truly like, uh, well, that's me. And I do that. So let me change that. Right. So between the whole, like, why not me? I know I work hard. I know I can stand on like some work ethic. I know I can do this. Like, yeah, I also need a day to be human and just put it in a bag and fucking throw it out. You know what I mean? But
No,
yeah,
I
but there are
love that.
yeah, but you know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I do need to like purge negative thinking equally as much as I need to purge like old clothes and, you know, picking out new shit to have in my refrigerator and stuff. So it's just purging.
Well, I love that, and again, I think that's super relatable. It's just like 80% to 90% of the human language is negative. Right?
Mhm.
It's the thoughts that we tell ourselves in the head. Like if I gave anyone an inside look of what I would say to myself inside my head, you guys would put me like in a mental institution because that's like it's
Yeah.
like fucked up, right?
Yeah.
So, which is crazy to think about. So, you went on this journey now. We've been working together for quite a while. What results are you personally happy with, and why?
I'm most happy on these fucking shoulders. I played okay, like I played volleyball all my life. This is the best my arms have ever looked, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, what? Like, like they did not look like this when I was actually wearing this t-shirt with sleeves. Like it was just that's baffling. Like I never liked arm day. I never liked anything arms. Like I just was just never. And then now I'm just like, oh, all the time. It's ridiculous. That one's fun. I've always had legs. That's like just like it's fun to have those back, right? And like I've always had attention with my legs, but to now to actually have like arms,
Mm.
yeah.
Welcome to the gun show. All right, that's
Well,
what you
yeah.
It's gonna
Uh-huh.
be your opening headline on your next show. Christina Banks, welcome to the gun show.
Just
Right?
like that's it. Just sleeves forever. Just like this little muscle tee. That's my most favorite thing ever.
Well, we've gone through this journey. So Christina has lost a bunch of weight. We went on muscle building phases. We went leaned out. Now we're back on another muscle building phase. And that's something that one of the things you spoke about earlier is graduating. right?
Yeah.
Something that I'm focused on, and the rest of the coaches on my team, is we like to graduate people. We don't want people to. We want people to have the skill set to eventually do this on their own long term, right? So,
Mhm.
why did you choose to stick around? And like, what's next for Kristina? Like, where
Um,
do you, not just fitness? Like, where does Kristina want to go? This is
yeah,
use that platform, right? Use it.
yeah, yeah. And
Yeah.
I always think about this too, because I'm just like, it would be so easy to like save like a couple $100 a month, like no big deal. But then I just have like this perspective of just like, yo, like our deal that we cut for, if you really boil it down of how much am I paying per week, that's really affordable for what I'm getting out of this. And I also know that like I have a little bit too much of like yes people in my life.
Mm.
So like I need an partner who's just gonna be like, no bitch, go to the gym. Like, no bitch, you can't skip that. Like, and I also know I'm getting slightly too busy where I can prioritize other things very quickly. So I had to have like a come to Jesus moment, and I was just like, yo, Ruth Bader Ginsburg had a trainer when she was 92. Like she was working out up until the day she died. You know, like who am I to say I'm above it? You know what I mean? Like if this is more of like a life coach like perspective, like therapy and nutrition and physical all in one, by all means you're more valuable to me than anything else. So I like you're factored into my break even. So if I just make more money, which I am, I'm fine. Why would I stop?
It's quite funny because when people work with me, they're like, "Oh, we're getting a fitness coach," and then they really get to know how I coach. Like, okay, this is more like internal work than I thought I would.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's so many times where like if I don't know, I'm just like, man, I don't feel like walking. And then I'm just like, Alex watches your stories, bitch. Like you can't hide.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
what is it? One of our students, Cameron, I would send him a voice note every morning at 5 a.m. for like the first 6 months,
Oh
being
my
like,
God.
"Wake up, motherfucker! I'm at the gym. Where are you?" Right? So it's really good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's fun just because like I know that I know that I could graduate, but I also know that that's when I know I could trust myself and I know I could,
Mm,
but also I like having that accountability and I like having
mm,
that balled into one. So that way I don't need to like, you know what I mean, disperse
yeah.
14 different times after this.
Mm.
So
See, the funny part is I've learned so much more about you on this call. I'm like, I had no idea about most of this stuff. It's quite
well,
cool.
usually I'm fucking crying, Alex.
I, it's
God,
true.
I'm such a baby. This is the only time I could like fucking walk it down for once.
Yeah, Christina says a thing. She says this is not only you. I've had this with like everyone I've coached. Like, there's something about you where we just everything just comes out. We ball tears. Right?
Yeah, I'm always just like, "Alex," like it's embarrassing sometimes. Yeah.
So obviously, there's a lot of people that are going to be watching this who are either getting started on their fitness journey, in the middle of it, or crushing it. So,
Mhm.
what are two pieces of advice that you could give to the audience that is listening in?
Two pieces of advice. Um, if you know how to do something in the most uncomfortable sense, that's it. Like if you're literally just like avoiding the dishes because you're just like fuck, I don't want to get up, like it's gonna be so long, like blah, 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 like you're already experiencing the worst of it. So if you
Mhm.
just do it, then it's done, right?
Mm.
I also kind of trained myself with Pavlov like a fucking dog. So so uh I put on this one song and I just do as much chores as I can do in that one song, but it's a 3.5 minute song, right? You do a lot more than you can think. So I can usually like sweep and do dishes and put some things away all within the song. And I'm like, oh, I'm just done. Cool. Right. Um, and then also I just try to get everything done with shoes on the second I get home. So then when
Mm.
I'm clocked out, I'm clocked out. There's nothing left to do. I can just rot, right? But then the second piece of advice is have out I've been trying to like think of a name for like how I structure this in my brain because I used to be a wedding planner, and so like I just see everything as deadlines and like, oh cool, that's not as crazy of a priority. I can like leave that off a little bit. Oh, okay, I can do this. Oh, that one's hot. I got to do that this week. Oh, that's my to-do list today, right? I can like prioritize and I can filter really well. But I was actually thinking like about once a month I have a like non-avoidance day. So anything that you're avoiding, you got to sit down, and everything on the list is shitty, but it's a short list. But if you get those 4 things done, again, it's just you're already experiencing the worst of it. So like if you just scratch that itch and just do it, then you don't need to avoid it anymore. Cause like if you really think about it, like I was avoiding my weight, I was avoiding accountability, I was avoiding going to the gym, I was avoiding a good feeling, I was avoiding successes because of it too. But the more that I'm teaching myself to not avoid things, the better I'm allowed to actually accept things.
I
Yeah.
like that. What do you call it? A shit day? What was it? What was the word called?
I'm just still trying to figure out a good name for it, but just like, yeah, like a non-avoidance day.
No, I like that. I might take that for myself because I avoid a lot of things outside of business and social media. Life
Yeah.
stuff, I'm not good at. This stuff, I'm great at.
Yeah. I
Right?
did not want to write this fucking letter to student loans, but guess who did that last night at 3 a.m.? Me.
There we go. I love that. So, do you have any last minute wisdom you would like to share from yourself?
I know starting is shitty. I know it feels like the rug is getting pulled up from under you. I know that. You asked for it. But also just keep with it because you don't even like I also read something that people don't notice other people's weight loss until they dropped about like 20 pounds. So just like don't use that as external validation. First, you got to do it just for yourself, right? And you have to just kind of grind it out. And you're going to hear all the like people who are just like, oh, you're always at the gym. Oh, you're always taking fucking gym selfies. Oh, you just care about working out. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yeah. I spent a lot of money by prioritizing myself through you. Like, yes, obviously I'm going to spend more time there than at the bar. Sorry. You know what I mean? I already made that decision. And then so the sweet spot doesn't get good until after you push yourself further than what you think.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's a quote.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Bars.
that. So where can people find you? Where can they connect with Kristina? Because I'm letting you guys know she is going to have a Netflix special one day. I'm putting it out.
One day.
Every time I talk to Kristina, I'm putting it out there because I believe in her. She's a powerhouse. She has more capability than I think she even realizes herself, which is really cool to see. And she's gone through a tremendous growth journey. And to me, she's only getting started, right? So, where can people find you? Where can they connect with you?
My Instagram is K Banks. It's just the letter K, not K-A-Y. Follow me there. And also I'm just like, it's very cool. And I'm glad that we're talking now and just kind of having like a big recap because I've been very nostalgic today, or this week in general, and like very reflective too, because I won the Ninja Creamy by being the like lead by example challenge through you guys. But then I'm also up for the Exemplar Award through the comedy reviewers out here.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So then that's why I'm just kind of like, listen, like, you don't get these opportunities unless you're fucking ready for them, right? So like the imposter syndrome is just kind of done. Like I know that my proof is in my pudding. I know that my work ethic is showing. I know that people are feeling good because of me. And like I also know that I'm allowed to walk away with that award. And if not, I got a really fucking hot pink dress that I'm gonna slam either way. So
I love that. All right, fuck yeah. All right, guys. Thanks to Kristina for coming on to the podcast episode. If you guys are getting value from this, make sure to like subscribe. Reach out to Kristina if you guys got any personal feedback or or anything like that, I definitely would connect with her because she's going to have one heck of a journey as well. And we'll chat with all you soon. Peace out.
Bye.